This is reposted.
Before we get into it today, I want to start with a little song, and this is how I feel about you, Larry.
Well, I hope that I don't fall in love with you.
Oh, that's nice.
I don't want to fall in love with you, Larry,
Ugh.
because falling in love is so hard. Anyway, that was Tom Waits. He's a musician, and his quote we're using today is "A gentleman is someone who can play the accordion, but doesn't." That makes me think of that guy that shows up to a party with his acoustic guitar and wants everyone to pay attention to him. I think it's like, if you're good at something, like, you don't need to brag about it. That's how I kind of read this, is like someone that plays the accordion um, and like whips it out all the time is annoying. And I don't want people to be annoying. And I don't know if that reads any different to you, but I like that.
That was kind of how I took it. Was if you're good at something, you don't need to brag about it. Like if you're a really good golfer, you're not always talking about how great a golfer you are because you're just subtly confident in your skills. You don't need to kind of work that out in front of other people.
Yeah, I have this rule of thumb that if anyone says they're good at something, they're not. And I think with skiing is probably the most. Like, a lot of people who are average skiers are like, I'm awesome. Like, I'll go down black diamonds. And I have a friend, Eric, who you know, who is a semi-pro skier, is probably the best skier I've ever met. If you ask him about it, we were in New Orleans, and he was talking to my uncle. My brother overheard the conversation. And he's like, "Oh, my daughter was about to be a ski instructor." And he's like, "Oh, do you ski?" And Eric's like, "Yeah, I guess." Like, meanwhile, that day he had posted him doing a double back flip over a highway on skis. And so, uh, yeah, I think maybe there's something to be said about being humble and not trying to peacock.
Yeah, dude, the peacock. We use the peacock line, because this quote comes out a bunch of different ways. It's like if you know how to play the banjo and don't, if you're the saxophone, the bagpipes. There's many iterations of this thing, but I like the banjo every once in a while. I like the saxophone. I like bagpipes. Like when you run across a bagpipe player, it's like stunning how loud and crazy that is. But you wouldn't want that like 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You kind of want it
Right.
every once in a while.
Right. And maybe I'm reading into this a little bit too much, but another way to look at it is a gentleman is someone who can play accordion. Accordion is not a well-known instrument. So it's like you have a bag of tricks. Like, I might not know that you can make a souffle or something. Every once in a while you can whip that out. And so it's like you're more of a well-rounded person. And I think that's something that's also nice to have, that if you're a CPA, maybe also you can smoke a rack of ribs really well.
Yeah, and I got to be honest, like people that play the bagpipes, I mean not the bagpipes, the accordion are kind of like odd. I don't know a huge amount of them, but like anybody like I've met that's like that guy's kind of like not normal.
Yeah. My parents listen to this show, and my mom can play the accordion.
What?
So I guess she can answer to herself if she is odd or not. I think
How did she why did she pick up the accordion?
her dad had it, and it's like, she plays the piano. She's an amazing piano teacher. And so, like, you have to be able to play the piano and then keep beat with going in and out. So we had one for a while, and I messed around with it. It's a fun genre. I mean, it's in Cajun music and polka. It kind of like, I challenge people not to bob their head when there's a little bit of accordion going on.
I feel like we kind of nailed the quote, but like, how do you learn? I mean, how do you learn how to play the accordion without playing the accordion? I mean, there has to be music being played to learn how to do it in the first place.
Yeah. I mean, are you asking, like, how do you even get into it?
Well, my point is, like, I get the crux of the quote, but like you have to play it, right? And so someone has to, someone had to, I mean, obviously your mom's father loved the accordion, so he didn't mind her playing it. But like on the street corner, when you walk by and someone's playing the accordion, I'd bet like 20% of the people that are passing are like, dude, just shut up.
Yeah, or I'm sure I played the tuba in junior high, and my parents were like, "Stop playing the tuba, stop practicing at home." That was funny. That came about because I played trumpet, and there was like 10 trumpets, and I was like fifth or sixth chair. Like, you're big, you can handle a tuba. So they needed more tuba players, and so I played the tuba, and that was a gentleman is someone who used to play the tuba but doesn't.
Man, tuba is so underrated. Like, I love the Roots. One of my favorite bands has a tuba player, like an old school tuba, like the sousaphone that goes around. I don't know what kind you played. and adds such a cool sound to a band.
Yeah, it really rounds it out. The sousaphone is the one that you have in the marching band that you can wear, and a tuba is the exact same sound. It's just you have a stand for it. And so, yeah, that's a fun thing about the tuba. I don't know. Do you have any hidden talents that people wouldn't know by looking at you?
I really don't have any hidden talents. There's nothing that I try to like work in. Yes, I take that back. The one thing that I'm very proud about, and I often bring it up as soon as I can, is that I cut my own hair and dye my own hair.
Mhm.
So whenever I'm around and I can bring that up, I totally just am like, oh yeah, I cut my own hair.
Yeah. Well, I think
just
just looking at you, sometimes people might know that you dyed your own.
Hey, that's not cool, man. That's
Well,
not cool.
that was kind of a shot. You do a good job. I like your what is it? If you cut your own hair and it works, you're good. Otherwise, you have to like your wife has to sign off. Otherwise, you shave your head.
Yeah, that's kind of how I started like 20 years ago. I was like, well, what's the worst thing that can happen? I have to shave my head. And sort of that way today, right? If I mess it up. By the way, in like 20 years of cutting my hair, I've never gone like, oh crap, I gave myself a bad haircut. I got to start over. I've always done a decent-ish job.
Yeah, when I was in college, my friend across the hall cut his own hair. He just shaved his head. He's like, "Hey, will you trim up my neck?" Whew, I'd never done that before, and I went way too high, and I trimmed off a little bit too high. So I don't think that's something I should be doing. Yeah, I don't know. Just don't judge a book by its cover. Maybe people have hidden talents, and they're just waiting to come out.
The thing about this, though, the people that are sort of bragging that love to tell you their hidden skill, I personally want to stab them in the heart with like a hot rod. But but I really feel like that is one of the fine qualities of like a gentle man. They just know how to be humble and sit in their own skin.
Yeah, I don't know. This is whatever. The sexiest man alive is always something that comes on people, and I feel like for the most part, those guys get interviewed and like, yeah, it is what it is. Idris Elba, who I used to love from The Wire, like he owns it. He's like, yeah, I'm hot, and what's up? So, I mean, even when you become braggadocious, it's like, oh, it's kind of gross. People naturally want you to be humble, whether that's the right way to do it or not. I
thought when George Clooney got it, People's Sexiest Man Alive or whatever, and they were like interviewing him, and he just played it so well. That's a hard way to, you're getting attention. He's an actor, but it looked like he was effacing with that kind of compliment.
Yeah. Well, I don't even know how they pick that. I don't know if you're listening to the show and you want to write an email to People Magazine and write in vote Larry Robert Olson.
Bro, I am late 40s. I could be further from the sexiest man alive, dude.
Oh. I would pay a lot of money to watch you have to accept that award and be real uncomfortable.
Did you see what I did there? I was being a gentleman. I was deflecting.
I know. Well, if you want to watch Larry play the accordion, please reach out. You can find us at Reposted Podcast on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I'm Andrew Keller for the Polka Man. Thanks for stopping by.